Welcome back. The scenes at the Capitol on Wednesday were nothing short of disgraceful, as a mob of Trump supporters, incited by the president and his allies, stormed the Capitol in an effort to overturn the election. The Wall Street Journal called on the president to resign. Others have called for him to be removed from office immediately. One of those calling for his removal is Congressman Ted Deutch.
What happened on Wednesday in Washington is something that we see happen in other places around the world and are repulsed by. And yet, here we are in our nation's capital, Jim, witnessing a violent attack, an insurrection against the symbol of representative democracy in America. It was a sad day for our country. It was an infuriating day. And I can't believe that's what's come to our country. It is both, I'll tell you though, it is both simultaneously shocking, and I think we would all have to agree in some ways, sadly, not surprising at all, given where things have been.
Can you walk me through a little bit about what your experience was? You know, where were you? Sure. What happened? Sort of walk me through it.
I was on the floor of the House for the start of the certification process. I was called for 1 o'clock. The vice president presides. There was a lot of drama, obviously, over how many of my colleagues and senators were going to try to reverse the outcome of the election by subscribing to these conspiracy theories. And so I stayed on the House floor as it started. When they got to Arizona and the objection was lodged and the debate started, I stayed for part of the debate, and then I left. And as I was outside of the House, there were things, there was action, there were some concerns on social media and on my text stream. So I made a beeline back to my office, and I got back to my office in the Capitol and stayed there for the next number of hours on lockdown as the Capitol Police kept updating us, telling us that there were security threats, that we should stay away from doors and windows, that we should silence our electronics. And then I watched, frankly, what was happening on the House floor that I had just left, and tried to communicate with my colleagues who were in the midst of that. I was just so angry. It was so appalling to see these people launching an attack on our own country, that where they were literally rampaging through the people's house, the Capitol. For anyone who's been to Washington, we pride ourselves in the fact that it's open and accessible. Well, here they were breaking in violently. At this point, 5 people are dead. There was a Capitol police officer, Capitol Police, who was murdered, and 12-year veteran of the force. It was just so infuriating to watch. How could we have come to this place where thousands of people have been fed these lies about the outcome of the election? The president of the United States, Jim, even that morning, again, stood in front of this very group of people and announced that he won the election in a landslide, that advanced all these conspiracy theories that are false, and that court after court after court, dozens, 60, 80 court judges have rejected. And even as he did all that, he had Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley and 150 of my colleagues also trying to overturn this election. Like I said before, it was appalling and it was shocking at the same time. What do you expect when day after day you go out there and tell these lies and advance these conspiracy theories?
I know that you took part in a call today with your fellow Democrats, and you've called for the president's removal. Do you believe that the House should move forward with articles of impeachment?
I believe that after what we saw this week, when the president incited insurrection, when the president, even after it started, issued a video telling the people who were actively involved in a seditious attack on our government, that he loved them very much and called them very special people. Yes, I worry about the next 12 days. I think it's important to point out this isn't a Democratic effort. There are Republicans who have called for the use of the 25th Amendment. That's why we wrote to the vice president and encouraged him to take that step that's available to him. This is not something anyone takes lightly. We don't want to do this. But after what we all witnessed this week, it's time for us to move on and to not put at risk our democracy, our institutions, even one day more. And if the vice president chooses not to go forward, then yes, we should proceed with impeachment. This is not about making a statement. This is about preserving the security of our country and of our democracy, our national security, our standing in the world. It's about accountability. And yes, we need to move forward, and we need to do it swiftly.
But realistically, the Senate isn't even expected to come back into session until January 19th, to put a hearing or a trial together in the Senate. There is no plausible way that you could move through an impeachment process in the days remaining. He is going to leave before. So is it not just really a statement just to put on record that you want to have some sort of censure against this president by impeaching him for a second time?
Well, we should be on record. We should be on record. I think this is the way to do it. Can we consider a censure motion by the House and Senate? Sure. But yes, of course we should be on record. It's not my job, Jim, as a member of the House, to worry about whether Senator Rubio and Senator Scott are going to be back in town. It's my job to do what I think is necessary to preserve our Constitution, defend our Constitution, preserve our democracy. It's not my job to try to guess whether Senator Rubio and Senator Scott will do the same. So there just needs to be accountability. This isn't a matter where we simply sit back and say, well, it's just Trump being Trump, and that's what we need to do. There's a reason that his remaining cabinet officials, those who have been with him the longest, those who are most committed to him, have been bailing from this administration left and right over these last few days. Now, do I think it's absurd for them to declare that this is the moment, that they couldn't have seen this coming, that now this is they should be viewed as a profile in courage? It's crazy. But nevertheless, it's become so bad that even the president's closest cabinet members have decided that they can't be part of this anymore. So
let me just ask this. In the call today, did any Democrats object to the notion of moving ahead with impeachment? Was there any concern that it will look as if you're not focused on the real business of the people, for instance, taking care of the economic crisis, because we saw swelling of unemployment numbers, the rollout of the vaccine, that there are pressing issues that the public is deeply concerned about, and that this will just divert attention from that?
No, it's not an either or, Jim. Of course, those are critical issues, and I don't need to rehash the frustration that we had getting to the relief package that we passed. Ultimately, we did, and it was bipartisan. We need to do more. We need to increase the amount of stimulus payments. We need to do more to help small businesses. We absolutely have to get the vaccines out. Florida is the perfect example of everything that's wrong with the way that the vaccine rollout is being handled, both at the federal level and at the state level. Of course, we have to do that. But all of that takes place. Everything else we do takes place within the confines of an American political system, a democracy that depends upon preserving our Constitution. And when you see a literal, not a figurative attack, a literal attack against America by Americans, I think most people would acknowledge that it's important to respond to that.
The president said today that he would not be attending the inauguration, and President-elect Biden just a few moments ago, again, this is on Friday, said that it's one of the few things that he and the president now agree on. He does not want him there either. What's your reaction to the president not attending the inauguration?
Now, look, on the one hand, has that ever? I don't know when the last time was.
It's been a little bit more than a century since the last.
It's been an awfully long time since that's the case. And on the one hand, I like to see traditions upheld. On the other hand, given the behavior of the president and his ongoing effort, as we've discussed, to try to reverse the outcome of this election, then I'm certainly not sad that he's not going to be in attendance, that he won't have the world's attention on him, because we never know what he's likely to do in that situation. So I would agree with the president-elect on this one.
Is the Republican Party still the party of Trump?
I think they've got to figure that out, Jim. If you look at the thinkers in the Republican Party, you look at Bret Stephens' column just this week calling for Trump to be removed. You look at the Wall Street Journal editorial page doing the same thing. You look at Mitch McConnell declaring that this vote to certify the election was the most important vote of his career, that he used to rebuke Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, the president, others who were trying to reverse the election. That's a really important view, and I frankly hope that view wins out. But where I work in the House, Kevin McCarthy, who is the minority leader, who wants to become the Speaker of the House, the leading Republican in the House of Representatives, sided with the president, and then went on television after this insurrection, after this terrorist mob attacked the Capitol, and suggested that we don't really know who was behind this, that maybe it was somebody else. They're going to have to figure out who they are as a party, and they're going to have to figure out whether they will stand for truth, or whether they're going to let Donald Trump continue to move forward trying to define the truth on his own. It has been one that has only benefited him and him alone, because since he took over in the Republican Party, they lost the White House, they lost the House of Representatives, and they lost the Senate. I would hope that strong, clear-thinking Republicans, like some that I work with, and certainly some in the Senate, will stand up and try to reclaim their party from Donald Trump. It's not just for the good of their own Republican Party, which I probably shouldn't encourage, but it's for the good of the country, and that's what's most important.
We'll be right back.